excited that Natasha reached out to me and asked for us to host you guys this evening, because it gives us a chance to not only present to you our STEM initiatives here at the Spy Museum, but also to initiate a dialogue with you, since we are a museum that is relatively young. We are 13 years old, so I guess we're teenagers, and we still have a lot of growth to do, and I will announce some exciting opportunities at the end of my presentation as to where the museum is going. The exciting thing about being an educator at the Spy Museum, well, there's so many. I mean, for instance, I will have a former KGB officer walk up to me, like yesterday, and talk to me. I have people at the FBI who worked cases for many years, and at the CIA help me develop programs here at this museum. But as an educator, the most exciting thing is I have never, in the 13 years that I've worked here, I have never met a student that wasn't excited to learn about this content area. When we talk about using spying and intelligence and espionage as a way to get into learning, we're not an arm of the CIA. We are a private, almost nonprofit educational institution. We're not here to train little spies. That's not what we do. But when we think about this content area of spying and espionage, it is so rich as an educator. It's multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary. I've even found a way to weave music into our curriculum, musical deception. We can talk about that another time. But science, technology, engineering, math are certainly a huge component of what happens in the intelligence community. But more importantly than that, the way of thinking, the analytical way of thinking through problems is sort of what we do in all of our programming here. So let me walk through a little bit about how we present our students and our teachers with our content area. So when you think about spying, this is probably what you think about, right? This is the world that most people know about when it comes to spying. This is how we're informed about the secret world, is by going to the movies, by reading books, by watching television shows. These are some of our favorites. We love it, right? Well, the world of real spying is not quite like this, because missions don't all end in 60 minutes or less. And they don't all end, in fact, hopefully, most of them don't end with large explosions and buildings on fire. But there is that excitement is real, and it is a real component of this world. So it's actually more exciting than what you see on television and in the movies and what you read in books. When you think about spy science, this might be what you think of. Maxwell Smart's shoe phone and Q and all these things that we've seen in the Bond films. Look at the new Q, right? It sort of looks like your students, right? That's the new Q, right? And what's his expertise? Does anyone know the new Q's expertise? Cyber. So he's not making the gadgets so much anymore, but he's really in cyber, which is a reflection of the real world of intelligence and the kind of technology and science that the folks who work in the intelligence community are now focusing on for the most part. But when we think about the real world of intelligence and the artifacts that we present here at the museum, we think a lot about gadgets, right? And these are some of the gadgets from our collection, some of the gadgets that are on view at this museum. We present what we call the secret history of history here. But the cool thing about looking at gadgets, like whether it's the pigeon cam from World War I, or the wristwatch camera, or the lipstick pistol, or no, not Maxwell Smart shoe phone, but pretty close, the shoe heel transmitter, and of course the Enigma machine. What are these gadgets? Where did they come from? They're really solutions to problems. Every single gadget that we display is a solution to a problem. And so when we have an opportunity to teach students about the world of espionage, we can start with our gadgets, the technology that exists. Now, if you'll all take out your cell phones, not because I want you to turn them off, but because I want you to look at your cell phone, and then I want you to thank a spy. Because if it weren't for the world of intelligence, you would not have your cell phone. The miniaturization of batteries occurred first at the CIA. Why? What was the problem that needed to be solved?
Discretion.
Discretion?
What? Like
yes.
To hide their devices, right?
Hide what?
Their devices?
Yes. What device in particular needed a miniature battery?
Camera or micro recorder?
a microphone recorder. There's one gadget in particular that having a very small, long-lasting battery would be a great thing. So we're reverse engineering here. A transmitter, definitely. A remote listening device, otherwise known as a bug. So we got to place it. You got to have an intelligence officer go in and place that bug, but then they need to leave it, and it needs to operate without any power source. So the problem was having that listening device be very small, to be able to be hidden in a place, not be discovered for as long as possible, but also last as long as possible, so that the intelligence gathering could go on for as long as possible. So that was a problem that was solved. Now eventually, of course, the way in which that problem was solved made it into the mainstream, and that's why we now all have our cell phones and our cell phone batteries. Microwaves too, so if you leave here and this dinner wasn't enough for you and you're going to go microwave your lean cuisine, you can also thank us by. So the technology that is top secret, that is classified, that we don't even know about today, but captures our imagination. I mean, who would have thought that the hoverboard, right, in Back to the Future was something that today, now I saw a kid in my neighborhood using a hoverboard the other day, I thought, really? That eventually these things make it to the mainstream. So the technology development in the world of intelligence is very, very important. We've given you each a brochure in your packets that sort of give you a taste of the kinds of experiences that we like to provide for students and teachers here at the museum. Starting in this classroom here, we take the museum visit to the next level, where we can offer students an opportunity to solve those problems, to get hands-on and minds-on, and to give you some samples of what we do. I'm going to start with the low-hanging fruit. We have a workshop called Spy Science, Operation STEM. And when we think about designing our workshops experiences here at the museum, we think about them as opportunities to challenge students with the problems that occur in the world of spying. So in this case, the students become technical operation officers at the CIA. We give them their job description. They're a GS, full-time GS, I think GS 11 or something. Not bad salary. Not great, but not bad. And they learn what a tech ops officer does. So what the tech ops officer will do is support the intelligence, the intelligence officers in the field, wherever they are overseas, in helping to solve their problems by using their knowledge of science and technology. So here they are in our classroom as tech ops officers. Their Agent Olympus, is in Cairo, Egypt, and she encounters some problems along the way, okay? In their first mission, they need to use their knowledge of materials science, as well as physics and electrical circuitry to help Agent Olympus build a signaling device, because she has been captured, but she managed to escape to the rooftop of her building, and she needs to signal her contact that she is there. How will she do it? Well, she has some items from her bug out kit, her emergency kit, and she's been able to collect some items along her escape route. We give the students, this is the MacGyver. Who remembers MacGyver? This is my favorite. Or if you just saw the movie The Martian, or Martian, I think it's just Martian, same thing. It's like, how are you going to solve these challenges using what limit your knowledge, your brain, and limited materials? So we put the students in the shoes, and they receive some materials like a rubber band, a small LED light, a disc battery, a magnet, and a paper clip. I wanted to do chewing gum, but it got a little messy. We don't give them instructions. Okay, so through their own exploration and through understanding and testing the various strengths and weaknesses, pros and cons of each material, they design a signaling device. And once they do that, they then have to think through the problem of how it will be used by Agent Olympus. Okay, so that tests them on their creativity and their knowledge of science. And their second message is helping Agent Olympus use frequency analysis to crack a coded message that she managed to obtain on her escape route as well. So we teach them frequency analysis. And it's so exciting for us as educators to present them with something that just really looks like dollar gobbledygook because it just looks like a series of numbers and symbols and it means nothing. And through this process of learning frequency analysis, they're able to then crack the code. And it's just like you actually see the light bulb, well, that light bulb go off, but then the light bulb in their brain go off when they can do it. The third mission is we were able to work with a company called DigiGlobe who provided us with high-resolution satellite photos, not the kind you get off Google Earth, but higher-resolution satellite photos over Cairo, Egypt. And they have to use those satellite photos to triangulate information and plan an escape route for her out of the country. Namely, we'll do different problems. One might be to get to a helipad, and so they use measurements on the satellite photos to figure out where a helicopter can land to rescue her. So we're trying to use these bits and pieces of real life spy stories, things that our advisors who have done this work have told us about, and putting the students in the shoes, using their knowledge of science to help solve problems in the field. So that's one such STEM-related workshop, very strong in STEM. This one not as easy for you to see a STEM relationship, but there really is, and that's what's exciting about the Spy Museum is that interdisciplinary work that occurs. So in this case-based scenario, we put the students in the shoes of an all-source analyst at the CIA in October 1962. What's happening in October 1962? We're on the cusp of what we now know to be the Cuban Missile Crisis, which had not gone the way it went, we would be calling it maybe World War III. Or nuclear war, maybe we wouldn't be sitting here today. But because of the work of the analysts at the CIA during that time, using both scientific knowledge and the diplomacy outside of the CIA, that became just a crisis and not a war. And so we put the students through the process of analyzing the U-2 photographs on the ground. They're looking for medium-range ballistic missiles. They need to know the range of the missiles. They're looking at primary documents that are now declassified. In fact, most of the cases declassified, which offers us a lot of opportunity. So they're learning history, but they're also learning the analytical thinking and the process that the folks at the CIA had to go through at the time to be able to provide the president with the intelligence that he needed to make important decisions. Just to give you an example of one of the activities during that workshop, students will examine a U-2 photograph of a ship coming into the port of Cuba, and they need to determine what's inside the crates on the ship. Could it be the medium-range ballistic missiles? Could it be a Comer-guided missile boat, a warhead van, or an IL-28 fuselage? And through their measurements and their analysis, they determine what's inside the crates. Oh, what do you think it was? Just from looking. I know you don't have your rulers and you're not looking at it. Just based on, these are the crates right here, in the midsection of the ship. These are the possible contents. And I didn't even give you any measurements. Just by eyeballing it. Sense of what's inside this crate.
Someone said it.
Don't be afraid. We're all in this together. It's only, the fate of the world. Who said it? What? Huh?
I think the missile,
Missile
and
boat.
RBM missile.
The missile boat?
No.
The second one.
MRBM.
Yeah.
The NRBM missile. So if you had the measurements, you would determine that it wasn't that because it only
It's too
submitted
long. Oh,
because
really?
it's too long.
Yeah.
Okay, the
How about
missile too
the
long would
fuselage?
be hanging off the edge of the
see.
ship. So the only other one that it could be based on the shape would be the IL-28 fuselage. We give them a little bit more information than I just gave you.
I'm so serious.
It's a little unfair, but I'll give you that. And then just another blending of disciplines in our newest program called Red, White, and Spy. We put the students in the shoes of the soldiers helping George Washington during the Revolutionary War to help him create what we call sympathetic stain, what he called sympathetic stain, using their knowledge of chemicals and agents and reagents to create a new invisible ink for George Washington, mirroring the same process that George Washington went through to create his unique invisible ink at the time. So you walk out thinking, you can't even believe that at this period of history, this advanced thinking was going on, advanced tradecraft, but we put our students in the exact same, using the same ingredients that we were able to source that George Washington used at the time, using, of course, a feather quill to test it. So that's a fun workshop as well, using some knowledge of chemistry. In addition to the workshops that we offer on site, we develop curriculum publications, all of which are on the USB that we gave you, so you're taking them all home with you today. And you can look through those. Just to point out a couple of things that are on there, we developed some educator spy guides, ways for various teachers in different disciplines to look at spying and look at our content through the lens of their discipline. So the two that I'm pointing out here are science and technology and mathematics. And on those sheets, they go through what at the museum relates to those disciplines, how you can connect it to your classroom. Very light touch, not a huge in-depth lesson plan, but enough to just get you hooked into how you can teach through the lens of spying. In our Ballroom to Battlefield publication, one lesson I wanted to point out was I had found this document at the Library of Congress. It's a primary document from the time period, from the Civil War time period, and it had a code in it. And I could not crack it, so I called our friends at the FBI in their crypto department, and they had a grand old time. I actually thought they'd get back to me in 20 minutes. It took a full week. Don't tell them I told you that. They'll be a little embarrassed. But the reason was that there was an error in the key. And so they had some trouble trying to figure it out. But once they did, I had them write it up as if it were a lesson plan, and we put it in a lesson plan. So our students actually used the same approach to cracking this code that the FBI crypto analysts did when I gave it to them, and we wrote that in that lesson plan. And just to give you a sense of where we're going with all of this, since a lot of this is happening in our classroom and in our publications, in 2017 we'll be opening up a new spy museum. It's going to be about triple the size of the museum that exists today, and we're very much looking forward to it. And one of the main reasons that Lucy and I are very excited about it, Lucy's my partner in crime back there, is that we're going to be able to integrate more STEM and science education into the galleries themselves. Okay, right now we focus a lot on history, and it takes a lot of overlay to get to look at STEM, at the STEM disciplines. But in the new museum, we're going to have a gadget lab similar to a maker lab in which visitors are going to go through that innovation process by which they'll solve problems using technology. We're going to examine the other ends. Right now we focus on human intelligence collection methodology. We're going to focus on satellite intelligence collection methods. And we're going to have the big items like satellites, like drones, like very big things that we are now collecting for that gallery. Innovation is going to be a huge component, not only the process of innovation, but who are the people that innovate and have innovated and change the course of history through their innovations. So that's and you know, what is science and technology in the world of intelligence? And as I said, who functions in these roles? So there's going to be a lot more for students to explore in the new museum and for everyone to explore.
Yeah, where will that be located?
In L'Enfant Plaza.
Okay.
And, you know, it's a process. We have not broken ground yet, so stay tuned. We'll, in fact, if you want to stay in touch with us, the best way to do that is through our Facebook page and to join our educator mailing list as we update teachers first as to what we're doing.